I ultimately made a customer pay a $2,500 asshole tax. And not only did he accept it, but he also became my single biggest source of referrals. It all started on what I thought was going to be the best sales day of my career. It was about 5 years ago. Back when I was in the car sales game. I was swapping war stories with another sales dad at a scout cookout just the other day. And the memory of this particular guy came roaring back. It has such a satisfying ending. I figured it was worth sharing. The day it all went down was a Saturday. In the car business, Saturday is showtime. I had already sold a car to my first customer of the day. And any car guy can tell you, if you get one out the door before 11 a.m. on a Saturday, you're on a hot streak. You start tasting the hat trick, selling 3 cars in one day. At my dealership, a hat trick came with a sweet $150 bonus. I was already riding high. The morning meeting started with me pocketing some cash for a couple of perfect customer satisfaction surveys. My first sale was also the first one of the day for the entire store, which triggered another spiff. That's what we call an arbitrary cash bonus for management. Before noon had even hit, I'd already stuffed $500 in my pocket. And I had a real shot at doubling it before closing time. It's gonna be a good day, I thought to myself. I had just finished checking in the trade-in from my first sale when Chloe, our receptionist, walked over to my desk. "Hey, Ethan," she said, with a knowing look. "You're really good with the weird, the angry, and the weirdly angry customers. Right? Wonderful. Yeah. I guess that's me." I sighed. "What be we got?" She subtly gestured with her head. "That couple over there. They look like they're about 5 seconds from demanding to see the manager at a Jimmy John's because their sandwich is taking too long." I plastered on my sunniest customer service smile and walked over to greet them. They were in their mid-50s. Projecting an air of aloofness and condescension that you could feel from across the room. I led them to an empty desk on the used car side of the building and offered them coffee. They scoffed at the offer. At least until they laid eyes on our big, fancy cappuccino machine. As I sat down, the wife, we'll call her Karen, just stared at me expectantly. I gestured towards the machine, reassuring her that it was very user-friendly but that I'd be happy to help. Meanwhile, her husband, let's call him Richard, slid a folder across the desk towards me. Inside was a printout from our own dealership's website. "I'd like to purchase this truck, please," he stated flatly. "At the advertised price." "Excellent," I said. "Before we dive into rebates, let me just quickly double-check that we still have this vehicle in stock." "It'll only take a..." Richard cut me off, his voice dripping with disdain. "You don't know your own inventory? This is very unprofessional." "Hey, honey. He says he probably doesn't even have it. Looks like we might have come all the way down here for nothing." Karen chimed in from the coffee machine. This would never happen at a Volvo dealership. This was going to be fun. I offered a placating apology, explaining that with 18 salespeople and over 650 cars on the lot, managing inventory was a full-time job for a reason. As I spoke, I pulled up our key tracking system. The key was in. The truck was here. I politely excused myself to pull it around front. In that moment, I made a small oversight, just checking the stock number instead of reading the fine print of the ad. It seemed insignificant, But it was a mistake that would plunge me into one of the most stressful and, ultimately, satisfying confrontations of my career. I pulled the truck up and met them outside. "All right. Let's take a look." Richard's face contorted. "This is the wrong truck." "This is the wrong truck," Karen echoed. "I told you we were asking for trouble trying to buy domestic." Richard shot back. "Honey, a damn Volvo won't pull the camper. And you know it. This is what we need." I was confused. "What do you mean?" "This is the truck from the listing you gave me. Stock number matches and everything." "Christ. No. It's not." Richard seethed. "The listing I gave you was for a white long bed King Ranch. This is a silver XLT. I get that reading is hard. But you'd think that even a domestic car salesman would know his colors." The insult landed. My customer service smile tightened. "First of all," I said, my tone shifting, "there's no such thing as a $30,000 new King Ranch. And based on your research, you clearly know that. Second, I don't appreciate being insulted. There's obviously been a mistake. So let's go back inside and figure it out. You have to honor your advertised price. It's the law." Richard shot back. His wife puffed out her chest. "I'm a lawyer," Karen announced. "And I will eat you alive. Look. There's no need for hostility," I said, trying to regain control. "I don't get paid unless you buy a car. So it's in my best interest to work this out. I assume our web developer just made a mistake with the pictures. But let me investigate." Back at my desk, my suspicions were confirmed in minutes. Every single word of text on the website listing, every detail, including the link to the official window sticker, described the silver XLT I had pulled around. The web guy had simply uploaded the wrong photos. I found the actual listing for the white King Ranch they wanted. Its sticker price was more than $20. 000 higher. And it had fewer available rebates. I printed both window stickers. And for good measure, I also printed the fine print disclaimer at the bottom of every single one of our online listings. For the next 20 minutes, I tried to calmly explain the situation, fielding a nonstop barrage of threats and insults. Things were getting nasty, and I was about ready to fire them as customers. But as I stood up to grab the printouts, my desk manager leaned over and whispered, "Don't you dare cut these assholes loose. Sell them a truck." So, I escalated it. I took the whole mess straight to the general manager. He came out, took one look at Richard and Karen, and clearly decided it wasn't worth the fight. He went back to his office and personally drew up a pencil, which is a preliminary buyer's order. He presented a deal that represented a real money. $6,000 loss for the dealership on that King Ranch. And he even showed them the official invoice to prove it. This revealed their greatest flaw, a bottomless well of entitled greed. They weren't looking for a good deal. They were looking to conquer. To win at any cost. A mindset that would ultimately seal their fate. They didn't budge. We were still about $17,000 apart. And they were holding their ground. Still threatening to sue us. Even though they knew full well they had no legal leg to stand on. Luckily, we were part of one of the largest auto groups in the world. We had plenty of lawyers, too. Then, an idea hit me. We happened to have the exact truck they wanted. but on our used lot. It was one model year older with about 21,000 miles on it. Critically, it was a CPO, or certified pre-owned. That means it had passed a much more rigorous inspection and came with an extended factory warranty. It was listed at $36,999. I pivoted, and we all moved over to the used car building. I showed them the CPO King Ranch. And by the end of the test drive, Richard was failing miserably at hiding his excitement. My GM had told me to call him before presenting a price. So I did. To my surprise, he went aggressive. He told me to present a price of $32,999. This was an incredible deal, about $1,000 above the rough trade-in value according to the NADA guide. And a staggering $2,500 cheaper than the next comparable truck within a 300-mile radius. Plus, the CPO certification added about $2,000 in warranty value right on top. They were still stuck on that magical $30,000 number. I don't care what the market says, Richard declared, leaning across my desk. I want to know what you paid for it. We'll negotiate an offset from there. No, I said, my patience wearing thin. That's not something you get to know. You don't go to Best Buy and demand to know their cost on a television. You could literally take this truck to CarMax tomorrow and turn a small profit at our asking price. Even if you weren't absolutely stealing this truck at this price. Which you are. My time isn't free. Karen slammed her hand on the desk. We don't give a fuck about you. We want a great price. And we're not there yet. Do better. You absolutely are at a great price. I retorted, my voice rising. And given the constant abuse I've had to endure from you both, you're out of your minds if you think I'm going to budge 1 single cent. I took a breath, trying to humanize myself. I have a baby at home. And then Richard said it. I know this sounds embellished, but I swear on everything holy. This is a verbatim quote. I couldn't care less if your baby lives or dies. Take $1,000 off. Or. Something inside me snapped. The world narrowed to a pinpoint. A hot, white rage washed over me, drowning out all sound except for a dull roar in my ears. We're done here, I said, my voice dangerously calm. What? Richard stammered. You heard me. We're done. Get the fuck out of my office. Now. No. I'm buying a truck today. No. You're fucking not. I roared, standing up so fast my chair flew back. I've been patient as fuck. And you crossed the line. Get the fuck out. Right the fuck now. Before I lose my fucking shit. Karen started to say typical, but I cut her off with a single word. Now. They finally scrambled to their feet. And I half-hearted. Half-shoved them out of my office and straight out the front door of the dealership. The second they were gone, my desk managers descended on me, lighting me up. I stood there and let them have their say. Then, I calmly told them what Richard had said about my baby. Instantly, the atmosphere changed. We were a united front. I was shaking with so much anger that my manager poured me a shot of desk whiskey from a bottle he kept for emergencies and told me to just sit in the sales tower until I'd calmed down. I was absolutely livid. So it took a good while. As one commenter on my original post later put it, telling someone that they don't give a shit about their baby? That's a low fucking blow. That's exactly how I felt. His words had given me permission to unleash the fury I'd been holding back all afternoon. About 20 minutes later, while I was still cooling off, the phone rang. It was Richard, calling to complain about how he was treated. He got a full-throated earful from my manager. But incredibly, he still wanted the truck. My manager put him on hold and turned to me. I've got to sell the truck. Ethan. What do you want me to do? I'll handle the paperwork if you want. But you'll still have to do the delivery. A slow, cold smile spread across my face. Nah. That's all right, I said. Just tell him his price expired the moment he got himself thrown out. And tell him there will be no more negotiations. If he wants the truck, he'll pay what we ask. I paused for effect. And don't tell him the new price. Just mark it up by $2. $500. My manager laughed and nodded. He got back on the phone and set it up. I got the deal jacket ready. When Richard and Karen slunk back into the dealership, I brushed off his pathetic, feigned apology and made him fill out the credit application in dead silence before showing him the final buyer's order. He stared at the paper, his eyes bugging out. This is way higher than it was before. Yes, sir. It is, I said calmly. Sign here. Why? He demanded. I leaned in and looked him dead in the eye. Asshole tax. Sign. Or go home. He glared at me, his jaw working silently. I just stared back, unblinking, letting the silence stretch for what felt like an eternity. Finally, with a defeated sigh, he picked up the pen and signed. As another person later commented, people tend to respect you more when you call them out on their asshole-ish behavior. That person shared a story about a freelancer who added a stuffing me around fee to her invoices for late payments, noting that clients, while they might query it, never argued to have it removed. I had discovered the same principle. I remained cold but professional through the rest of the delivery process. Richard remained an asshole in every follow-up call we had. But here's the unbelievable part, he inadvertently became my single biggest source of referrals. Apparently, he couldn't stop himself from telling everyone he knew about the salesman who had the balls to charge him an asshole tax. And because he was such a notoriously massive asshole himself, this story made his entire circle of friends and colleagues want to buy cars from me. Over the next year, I sold 7 more cars just to people he knew. Oh. And in case you were wondering, I did end up making my hat trick that day. The third sale came through just a little after we closed. In the end, this story is a powerful reminder that sometimes the best way to deal with a bully isn't to stoop to their level, but to create a new set of rules they're forced to play by. Standing up for your own dignity can have the most unexpected and profitable rewards. What would you have done in my shoes? And what's the craziest asshole tax you've ever seen someone have to pay? In any walk of life? Let me know in the comments below.